We get to the Middle East, and it was our annual dust-up with Saddam Hussein, and my ship carried 90 Tomahawk cruise missiles. And I used to lie awake at night wondering if the taxpayers knew I was in charge of 90 Tomahawk cruise missiles. And us and 3 other Tomahawk ships were ordered to sea to prepare for a possible launch against Baghdad later in the week. And by and large, we know the targets in advance for Tomahawk cruise missiles. And they ordered us to sea and said, here are the targets that you'll see at the end of the week. We want you to practice the mission. Now, from the time we get authorized to start the programming of a Tomahawk cruise missile until we can shoot takes 2.5 hours. From the day the missile was invented, it's taken us 2.5 hours to go through the launch sequence. And the Pentagon said, get to sea, practice the mission. Only if we give you the order later in the week, you're only going to get 2 hours to launch, not 2.5. And so the 4 ships practiced the launch. It took us 2.5 hours. Pentagon said that's not good enough. Do it again. We practiced it again. Took us 2.5 hours. And I go to bed that night thinking they can order us to do whatever the heck they want, but if the process doesn't support us launching in under 2.5 hours, it's never going to happen. I had 2 Tomahawk engagement planners. Unbeknownst to me and the department head, one of them, 24-year-old Darren Barton, stayed up all night long on his own. And he traced every input that goes into the launching of a Tomahawk cruise missile. And he discovered something, that over the years we've added upgrades to the missiles, like GPS capability and other enhancements, but they never updated the launch procedures. And because of the enhancements, he figured we could cut 23% of the steps out and launch in under 2 hours. And he knocks on my door at 7 a.m. the next morning, and he presents me this plan. And I'm not an expert on this system, and even if I was, I couldn't change the launch procedures on my own. And I'm looking at him thinking, we have PhD rocket scientists who do this for a living. And you're 24 years old and you've never been to college, and you're here to tell me in 8 hours you cracked the code on this. And I thought, if I pass his plan up the chain of command and he's wrong, I'm going to look like a fool. And then I thought, you know what, it won't be the last time. I took a chance on Darren Barton. I passed his plan up. To his credit, I had a very supportive chain of command. The 3-star admiral in the Middle East passed it to the PhD rocket scientists ashore, and they came back 12 hours later and they said, you know what, the kid is right. We can now launch in under 2 hours, and the new procedures are now called the Benfold rules throughout the Navy. And it's because 24-year-old Darren Barton raised his hand, and because I took a chance on him.